All right, hey everybody. It's the 3rd of October, 2024. This is Gimbalabs Open Spaces. We meet on Thursdays at 14:30 UTC to talk about what we're going to do together. And right now, Fund 13 is a priority. So there's been a lot of different ideas and notes going around. And so I just made a quick agenda doc here in Notion. We're right in the Gimbalabs Notion. I shared these links in the chat. We're going to look at the projects board in just a second. But just to set the stage, first of all, um, we're going to have a lot of ideas over the next few minutes. And I just want to encourage myself and everybody just embrace the uncertainty and the ambiguity for the length of this meeting so that we can all jump into the focused work we've got to do to follow up. If at any point you're ready to jump into a breakout room with somebody else to really focus on something, I'm going to open those up right now just so they're available. All right, because I know that sometimes when we get to talking about proposal ideas, um, if you want to follow a thread, sometimes you want to strike while that's hot. What we're going to do is review the project list, but with a focus on ideas that might become Fund 13 projects. A couple of themes we might address. There's some stuff we've been working on since Fund 12, continuing the sustain and maintain proposal or thinking about new courses. There's a lot of work with people thinking about education, hackathon ideas, and in-person workshops. So these are some threads we could tie together. I put some links here, but I'm going to save this for when we jump into the project board. And then building upon other themes, like we have the Plutus PBL course, but it leads to some other opportunities. And so that's another theme we might look at. Maybe you have some themes of your own. So if you have access to the board, please feel free to add them to this list. And as we jump into projects, we'll just see what emerges. Okay. This is only going to take a week because all of these proposals are due this time next week, which means that after this, we can jump right back into all of the ongoing work we were doing. I know that one thing I promised last week was to share an update about the projects that we've already approved. I'm going to be working on that right after this session. So if anybody wants to stick around after 16 UTC when this meeting is over, you're welcome to. And I'll remind you of that at the end. So before we jump into the project board, when you think about high level themes that you might want to address in a Fund 13 proposal, are there any other categories that folks would like to throw on the table? All right, let's go into the project list so we can really focus on the details. All I've done here is added, we were talking about the project review last week, and we added this funding source column for our current work in progress. That's really helpful to have. So I was wondering, what if we just add like a potential funding source as well by tagging some of the proposals we're talking about right now, and we can think about these as Fund 13 proposals. So first question, Dandelion Light, it's appropriate to tag this as a possible Fund 13, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to check on that before doing it. I know that Emmanuel's is, so we're going to work on this one in just a second as well. And then I threw two at the bottom of the list. If there's time to talk about these today, I'll bring them to the table, but these are just empty proposals. So if we have time for some live proposal formation, we can do that. And if not today, I'll be following up on these over the next few. Now, in our list, is anything else here or up above? Is there anything that folks would like to call out as maybe having some implications for Fund 13? Okay. Keep this in mind. We might draw on some of this work. I know, for example, when I get to thinking about some of the workshop stuff we were talking about at Intersect yesterday, some of the hackathon stuff that Newman and Alex and Piotr have been doing might relate to that. But for now, let's just start at the top of the list. Martin, do you want to share any updates on the Dandelion Light proposal?
Uh, yeah, I could um, give a small overview of what we've done on the proposal. Maybe people
If
can
you
comment.
if you want to share screen, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just have it up right here.
Um, yeah, I think we made the primary driver a little different. Um, and I discussed with Steve some other collaborations. Maybe we had a good view at what Iagon has with servers, and maybe we can run on their servers. I specified the budget. Maybe the budget is the most interesting thing.
The
Yeah.
collaborations? I'm just looking for those.
Yeah, we did, that's not,
Oh, that was
we
just a
didn't stick that
discussion.
in.
Oh, okay,
That
okay.
was, that was me distracting Martin from this.
Okay. Yeah, you said resources. Do you have a
Oh,
budget?
wait a second. That is in the actual proposal. So if you scroll upwards, at the top somewhere, there's this
Oh,
link.
proposal draft. This
So yeah, if
nice.
people are willing to, so I put everything in here as a as a proposal. So I already made the draft available. Um,
Great.
so the timeline, the milestones are still a little open. Maybe the interesting part is uh, the budget is a little lower there, like budget and costs. What we wanted to do is clarify. We had a discussion with Nelson and Steve about maintenance work being the biggest part of what we're intending to do. And part of that is completed maintenance work and future maintenance work and building educational content so people know how to add stuff to Dandelion Light and yeah, maybe contribute.
Mhm.
But we also want to make Dandelion Light open for other projects, and we heard some other people who would be interested maybe. That it would be some kind of central point where you could just plug in all the different services you want to run, and that it's easy to run those services.
Mhm.
There's a hardware part where uh, we want to jumpstart uh, a group of nodes, Dandelion Light running, and sponsor those. So there's a small or a simple calculation of what the costs would be per year in hardware costs. So that is the first thing is the AMD Ryzen 9, which I'm using, which is pretty fast. It's like a, a performance system, but then not the newest thing. I usually look at the graph where it's like,
Mhm.
this is where the price starts to
Great
really drop,
research.
but it's still fast.
Yes.
So it's not a, a crazy system like a Threadripper is so expensive, so that doesn't make sense. Um, like costs, if you would write it off in 5 years, 1142 ADA computer costs and server cost running at 400 watts. It's a bit high, but we would have to check it. Yearly electricity costs 3600.
Mhm.
So yeah, that gives you, or no, 2400. Total 3600, around about that.
Mhm.
So we could sponsor 12 people for a single year, or yeah, 3 for multiple years.
Yeah, that would be really exciting.
Yeah, I wanted to make this part of the proposal because it's that is something yeah, could be run from Gimbalabs, and it would really make a difference. And then there's some miscellaneous other stuff.
Mhm. Steve, what do you think?
Martin, my thought is on the personnel costs, like that future maintenance work and completed maintenance. You're gonna have to sketch that out for these Catalyst people because they won't know what that means.
Right. Yeah, I think that completed maintenance is part of what has already been done by, yeah, in part, the Game Changer team.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying,
Would
those
we
people.
need to specify that in amount of GitHub commits or systems created?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever's,
Yeah, yeah.
I think whatever is understandable for
Right.
bureaucrats.
Okay.
High level list of what's been done.
Mhm.
Right. I think a
Yeah.
list of the endpoints that have been provided, the amounts of time it's been done for,
Yeah.
the different networks it's been done for, that kind of thing. No, this is, I mean, I don't have any objections to this. This is very exciting. I guess my question to the team here is there anybody else who really wants to commit to supporting this work? I know like Nelson, for example, has already been lending a hand. So I don't know if anybody else wants to put their name on here.
Oh, that's a good.
Depending on what you mean by support, yeah, I'm down with that.
And you guys decide, right? I'm not going to write people's names down here, but just if this is something you want to move with, I'm going to ask the same question when I propose some other things later. If this is something you want to be involved with, it's a great time to jump in, help out getting the proposal across the finish line, and then you take it from there.
That's I just heard the name of Roberto being dropped, and he's still in here because I copy pasted it from the last one. But yeah, we're still not
You got
really,
to check with him. Yeah.
we didn't really check with him, and yeah,
Yeah.
you have to know what's up with that.
Yep. Yeah. This Q spoke to him. Good. Good. And this is the same, right? What's beautiful about this, it's the same as we're doing with the smaller proposals inside of Gimbalabs, right? Just making sure that we're asking the right people and getting the right commitments to make sure things get done. But this feels like a good start. Anybody else have questions or advice based on what you're seeing here? Let's go to the reviews. Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
I
I have
assembled the
maybe
worst.
something to input. So there's a open source libraries working group that started at Intersect, which will connect projects to productization and commercial feasibility and sustainability ultimately. So maybe you're going to be interested to represent the project there. Like,
Okay, I am. Get me in touch, Alex.
you at Intersect?
Why maybe the Discord server or what?
It doesn't matter. They won't let you join Discord if you didn't join the organization.
I don't think I am. Maybe.
Well, please do if you'd like to have support from Intersect, because that's the work that is starting right now, and the goal of it seems to be to help the projects like yours.
Maarten, if you want, we can chat again when you have some time, and I think I know how to do that to get into Intersect.
Okay. Where do you need
Mark,
to be, Alex, where do we need to be specifically what you said? Is there something?
There's
event or-
under open source committee, there's libraries working group. It's called open source libraries, but the like inaugural meeting was just yesterday, and we discussed the scope of the group. And although the group itself may limit its scope at present meetings, in general, this work should probably cover Game Changer, because it's not a library, but an open source project. But anyway, you will be able to get feedback, feedback from members of the group who are not members of Gimbalabs, so different people, more feedback.
Great. Yeah. Thanks.
Steve, is your hand up again?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, I said I'm down to be involved in support, but I just wanted to say to Martin, I'm not sure you should use my name on the Catalyst proposal, because as far as I know, I'm on an unclosed funded proposal, and from quite a while ago, and people like that are like, you know, kind of like blocked in a certain way. So I'm not sure you should, and I'm not sure that that's true. I don't know if Piotr ever closed his proposal out. I have no idea. I was added on to it and didn't really have that much to do with it on a particular level. But I just know that they do that now, right? You know, like you have to have proposals closed out.
Yeah, I think Fund 10 or something is the cutoff point. So
Okay.
That may be to be a proposal or a co-proposer, not specifically on the team, which I can clarify.
Yeah, so we can all look at those details. But this feels like a really good place to start, and you guys run with this. Obviously, ask for help, and if anybody needs readers, let's just all be dropping links at each other in the Discord. But as a follow-up step, right, we go back to other business as usual after the Catalyst deadline next week. Martin, what I'd love to see is a subset of what you're proposing here. Follow through with that, you know, just as a Gimbalabs treasury proposal, because we were well on our way to getting some things off the ground. And that way, whether or not this proposal gets through on Fund 13, at least we're setting a pattern of getting it going. And I think that's going to help us when we're having conversations with Intersect, like Alex is suggesting.
right.
And hopefully we can look at that next week or following. All right, so jumping back to the list, this one's ongoing. We're going to keep it here in the, well, where does this one go? It's kind of like everybody, we've consented to it, but we also want to bring it back afterwards. So I'm just going to leave this here so we remember to talk about it. But let's jump to the next one. First of all, thanks for your patience, Emmanuel, to look at this. But do you want to introduce yourself and introduce this proposal?
Yeah, sure. I'm Emmanuel Ashalu, from Nigeria. I'm a student of University of Lagos in Finance Department. So basically, why I'm bringing up this proposal is due to one of this recent research I started with my team. One of them, the team I created here in Nigeria. We are all students though, so we started this research, a very technical research, with a lot of technical problems. So as we're going on, the research keeps on expanding. You know, more than the way, like the problem was way too more than we expected it to be, and everything was basically smart contract development and stuff like that. Though we in the team, we are developers, like backend and front end developers and stuff like that. So so I met Jingle's Code. I don't know if that's his name, but that's his name on Discord. He's also a Gimbalabs Gimbalabs. I think he's also a Gimbalabs member. So he
we're
referred me to
huge fans of
Gimbalabs.
Jingles here. Yeah, he's such a good guy.
Yeah. So he has been attending to me all through the research, giving me guidance and stuff like that. So, and he said, okay, if I want to start something like this, then I have to go through the education on Gimbalabs. So basically right now, what I'm planning to do and basically what I'm planning to do is getting people getting developers education basically on Cardano smart contract education to students in my school, like University of Lagos. So it will be very easy for me to access them since it's my school and monitor them, and then we can come together after a successful education from Gimbalabs. So that's basically what the project is about. And the intended outcome is um, students are expected to be able to integrate solutions with Cardano improvement proposals. Those are the CIP 1694, CIP 4500. Students are expected to deploy and build Cardano smart contract from scratch because that's basically why they are getting the education, knowing everything about Cardano and the apps. And yeah, so also each student um, selecting preferred Cardano programming language and direction in choosing their programming languages. So I think Cardano programming languages are based on maybe your preferred choice and your background in programming as well, Aiken and Alias and stuff. So I we expect that at the end of this education, we should be able to like specialize. Okay, this is the type of programming language will be like conversant with while programming with while integrating on Cardano, and also integration and use of Cardano's developer tools and APIs and SDKs. So block flows, a lot of APIs on Cardano and the SDKs, they should be able to make use of them. And so at the end, so those are basically the outcome because those are the foundation. And um, I believe if a student like as a beginner should know all of this, the person is good to go to find his way. So also okay, this is actually the details of the proposal. Student promotion needs the relationship responsibility. Two student coordinators needed. That's Emmanuel Mouse, and I don't know if Mouse is around here, but I sent him the link earlier. I expect he should be here. So we are basically the student of University of Lagos. So we'll be serving as coordinators that can that can interact physically with the students. So to promote good relationship with them in physical meeting and everything, if we are to host any physical meeting, and also event onboarding. So in search of educators that are interested in this project, 2 to 4 Gimbalabs members would be necessary for online live session or online live education session. I'll take that again. In search of educators that are interested in this project, 2 to 4 Gimbalabs members will be necessary for online live education session. So that's basically what Gimbalabs would be offering us at first. So targeted number of students, 30 to 40 students, is also subjected to change according to educators' point of view. So if the educator feels like, okay, 30 to 40 students is maybe a bit higher, it can be reduced to maybe 20 to 30 and stuff. So it's very, very flexible. Also, considerably at the end, a certificate of participation should be presented to students or according to Gimbalabs decision on proof of completion. So yeah, so
This is really
Yeah.
well prepared. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Final project at the end of education session to um students individually, like they should be given a final project. So we are like to be certified that okay, yeah, you know what you're really doing after the completion. And also top three most performing students are gifted with token prizes in two categories, which I proposed that there should be category on result performance on final projects and most participating and attending students. So that's basically those are basically the details of the proposal. Also, what are the impacts and benefits moving forward? What are the impacts and benefits? Scalability of Cardano developers. That's 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 the number one benefit because okay, it's increasing the number of Cardano developers globally and promoting Cardano developing role in Africa, especially in Nigeria. And I don't know if we all know about the technical role in Nigeria right now. Nigeria is we are coming up actually in the developing role and technical role. So educational benefits, student education in Gimbalabs set a solid foundation for a sustainable developer student community. So I believe with Gimbalabs, students will be able to set a solid foundation. They'll be able to find their way after the education's completion. Formulation of Cardano's developers student community, as I said earlier, that's basically where the idea of this proposal started from. Subsequently, a Cardano developers community would be formulated, first of its kind in Nigeria, as a result of the successful Gimbalabs education. Also, Cardano's accessibility in university students. Accessibility to invest, so increasing Cardano's general marketing in university students and subsequently Nigeria as a whole, which is a market-driven country in its top adoption of cryptocurrency in 2024 and after India. So I don't know if we all heard recently, Charles Hoskinson said something about after Argentina, he said Nigeria is um is a marketing audience for Cardano next. And I don't really feel we have like Nigeria Cardano community, we are really prepared we are really prepared for that. But then, so I think this would also serve as one of the driving force to make Nigeria recognizable country. Also, Gimba Labs promotion to university students. Student awareness to Gimba Labs as a Cardano community impacting Nigeria students in Cardano developers education. And this is really going to go a long way. I believe it's really going to go a long way for Gimba Labs after the education because we are using Gimba Labs as a start and we are promoting Gimba Labs to education, to students. So yeah, so that's that for that. It's going to promote Gimba Labs to students in university students, basically University of Lagos students. And further collaboration and partnership with Gimba Labs and students, developers, community in education to new students, also collaborative project workflow. So after successful developers community formation, continuous workflow going on with Gimbalabs and which is should be very enticing to see and I really hope for that. Evaluation criteria. So dedicated student participation criteria. So I don't know. From the okay, we would see from the budget also. Okay. Um According to my criteria, what I feel we need is students that are dedicated and passionate about actually building on Cardano. And without passion, if you are just driven by the money, you might not even last long. So students that will be joining will be very, very dedicated, which is part of them having that final what's it called? Final projects.
Mhm.
And evaluation criteria is part of um we giving them ADA in price for the most performing students. So they will be dedicated all through the education session, sustainable education session among students and educators. Yeah. So outreach to potential audience. With the onboarding session, I don't know if I made mention of the onboarding session. So there will be an onboarding session whereby onboarding live like physical session whereby we will be onboarding potential students that are really developers. Basically, most of them will be developers. Our targeted audience will be developers. So, uh, so those are one of the criteria we use in evaluating the proposal. Continuity in learning and education among students. So after a successful Gimbalabs education, there'll be continuity in learning, which is basically forming the team straight up, you know. And I feel independent guys after the successful education would want to come up that okay, I want to bring up my own developers community also, just like this guy, you know. It will really expand developers community in Nigeria. So and also further evaluation criteria conducted by the participating educator, which is from any interested Gimbalabs educator. So yeah. So the education timeline according to participating educator or scope of course and student learning improvement. So as you can see, the proposal is very, very flexible to the educators,
How soon
participating
do you want to
educator. So
start?
yeah.
Do you have a date that you want to start?
Yeah, I would say if we were to start now, since it's a project catalyst, okay, yeah, I included the criteria to start because I think it's still below, because if we are about to start now, if we're about to start, the criteria we choose in starting the program is students starting of the semester session of the school and not during the period of exams, because if it's
Right.
already the period of exams, yeah, so it will be around the starting of the semester in the school, and basically we are on break now. So
Okay.
yeah, so um also thanks for that. Also Google Meet and Zoom or any preferable online real-time meetup. So okay, the financial, as you can see, they're the budget is low and it's very it's very okay, and this is basically everything we need. No unnecessary stuff. And internet internet service provider subscription for support of maximum of 40 students, and the 40 students is still subjected to changes and according to the educator's point of view. And also, so we are planning to like give the students internet service subscription after the live session to
Mhm.
bring to promote participation. So um physical onboarding events, maximum 40 students. So there will be a physical onboarding of students, which should be basically maximum of 40 students. Once it's 40 students for the physical event, we are no more accepting students again. And so that's basically the plan. And we'll be having a merge of 40 students as well, which will be 20 ADA for each shirt. And as you know, Gimbal Labs name will be printed on the shirts straight up. So Gimbalabs Labs name on the shirts for 20 ADA per shirt. That's 800 ADA. Graphics, publicity, event planning budget. That'll be 1,300 ADA. This includes the live event center will be getting, the equipment, projector, and all necessary tools will be getting. So this includes that. That's 1,300 ADA. So ADA gift prizes also. So for 2 categories, top 3 students for 2 categories, which is most performing students and most attending students. The first position will be taking 1,000 ADA. It's a pretty enticing price for Nigerian students. Second position 750 ADA, and third position 500 ADA. So most attending 500 ADA for first position, second position 400, and third position 300 ADA. We also have the physical closing event budget, that's 1,000 ADA, where we'll be issuing certificates, and there'll be interactions, and it will be like a ceremony for the completion of the education session, and a developers community will be formed thereafter. So the total of this proposal budget is 6,550 ADA, and excluding 2 university coordinators incentives. If we are to get it's fine. And then if I don't know, according to Gimbalabs, if the student coordinators are not to get, since we are the one that brought up the proposal, then it's fine. But I excluded that. I excluded that. And also internet service subscription that I felt I did not calculate, and also educators participant incentives. So the responsibilities basically for students educations coordinator, those are the 2 coordinators in the school. There'll be publicity and physical representing physically representing Gimbalabs, because we are representing Gimbalabs. So there'll be publicity, and we'll be physically representing Gimbalabs. Direct student contact and interaction, and those are responsibilities, and also maintenance of student WhatsApp or Discord group chats, or Discord servers, or any private I think Gimbalabs is used to Discord, right? And Nigerians basically, we are used to WhatsApp, but
We can
whichever
migrate. We can set up a WhatsApp channel. That's okay.
Yeah, we can use the both.
Yeah.
Yeah, also responsible for student attendance after each session, because that's very, very compulsory. Because that's very, very compulsory. Student attendance will be taken after each live session. Also, educator and participants, each focusing on different session of the course. Educators are to communicate, aligning education courses, live session schedule, and steps in Cardano developers role. So educators are to communicate with each other in aligning their courses. So and live session schedule. So there will be a proper workflow among the educators. Also, course scheme development, course also course scheme development, hosting classes, live code sessions, assignment review, and correction. Also, final project grading and correction. So these are the responsibilities of the educators. So um, James, please, can you take it out? Oh, yeah. So the potential risk and mitigation strategy. If low student turnout, less than 15 in live session at the beginning, more publicity might be needed. Also, educators are to give at least 24 hours prior notice for the absence for their live session. And this was what I stated earlier. So review and adaptation plan. Students low attendance in school's exam period. So in exam period, there will surely be low attendance, because students will be focused more on their exam than the side coding. And so therefore, education session kicks off during holidays or beginning of university semester. So
What are the dates?
that's basically.
What are the dates of the start of the semester?
Okay, as at the start of the semester now, since okay, as at the start of the semester now is we're on holiday now. As at the start of the semester will be October 28th. That's basically when we're starting the semester.
Awesome. All right, thank you. So I see Alex's hand up. Alex, what do you say?
What do I say? Not to get too long. Right?
No, Emmanuel, you can call me
Emmanuel. Okay, Emmanuel.
Yeah, yeah.
So as a developer advocate is a part of my role to help, let's say, students who want to contribute to Cardano. If you'd like, as I understood, you asked for some participation from teachers, right? From people who know a little bit and would like to mentor others. And if that's the case, I'm open. Feel free to reach out and I'll join the sessions or WhatsApp groups or whatever you organize. Also, I drop my calendar in the chat if you'd like one-on-one with me and help you with this. Feel free to book a meeting and let's meet up and discuss this outside of this meeting, not to take everyone's time. Otherwise, yeah, I think James, I mean, we can't leave James out, out of
No,
this. So
this is really
I
good.
mean, I just volunteer to help. That's all,
Awesome.
like, primarily.
Put him on there.
Well, thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah, can we go through a few details now just to give this a little more shape?
Yeah, sure.
So I think right away, let's make sure to finish these budget lines, right? Get those. And I definitely think there should be some budget for the coordinators, and we can talk as we go on about what's in it for Gimbalabs. I think there's you illustrated a lot of the benefits already. But when you think about those live sessions, how many live sessions do you want to do and how long do you want them to last?
It depends on the course, as I've said earlier. It depends on the course that it's down. Like necessary courses to touch and necessary things to know. Aligning with this outcome. This just depending on the educator. Okay, the educator might know. Okay, this time frame will be enough for the course to cover for me to cover. And also about the live session, it should be maybe, I don't know if it's convenient for the educators, basically weekends for the students. That's what is convenient for the students. But if it's
Yeah. Well,
if
yeah,
it's
that
they
was
might
part of
yeah
my question. Yeah. So when you think about
yeah.
this physical onboarding event, is this like
Yeah.
1 day or is it a 2 to 3 day event? What do you think?
Yeah, sorry, I was
Okay.
called up. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So it's basically a 1 day event. Because I believe we are actually going to get a lot of crowd, so a lot of like audience. So it's a 1 day event. Why do you ask that?
Just curious to get parameters. So I think to finish this proposal, let's figure out that 1 day event. That's helpful to know. And then also, you're exactly right that we shouldn't start by putting a number of hours on the live sessions because we have to first figure out what we're going to be teaching. But let's get some basic parameters around that because I think this is a great idea. And as long as we get the details right, there's no reason it can't happen. And Hinson got his hand up. He just hosted a live event. What's up?
Yeah. So I also want to flesh out a little bit of detail of this. One curious question I have is, Emmanuel, do you know anyone in person in Nigeria that knows about Cardano development, like smart contract development or off-chain code development?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I did not mention earlier. I am a community manager in a Cardano club. That's the Unified Cardano Student Club. We are basically into workshop also, but I believe it has been ineffective because a lot of stuff. I don't even want to go into details about that. But I mean, Cardano's developers, Unified Cardano Developers Student Club. So yeah, there is a developer. I know of Mr. Demilade in Nigeria. So Mr. Demilade, I don't know if anyone knows of him. So yeah, he's a developer in
I see.
Cardano.
Yeah.
I see. That's great. Because I asking this question because if there is no one get to know the details of Cardano development, it will be really tough to host these sessions. Like, because the student will probably just go for the teacher that they could see to ask a lot of questions. So there's a motive behind my question. Yeah.
Yeah. Since basically, it's still like okay, a live session, so it's online. If we are to teach in Nigeria as well, most of our sessions will be online. Even
I see.
workshop,
Got it.
majority of the workshops are still online. So that's why we are actually having two coordinators, like for
I see.
physical meetup. So we will be directing the questions to our educators. Then they'll be bringing it back to the live
One
session.
more questions I have is that I've noticed you put down the timeline as the late October you want to execute this thing. Do you have a backup timeline for this? Because usually if you want to host something like this, it takes way more effort than you were kind of able to expect it right now to do the preparation. So very likely it will be a little bit rushed if you want to host it by the end of October, I would say. Like if it's pushing back for another a few months, like what is the best timeline that in your mind?
No, yeah, as you say, I did not add a timeline at first. Why
I see.
the October ending was added was because James asked the beginning
Yeah, I was
of
just
the
curious about the
yeah.
semester.
So he was just curious about
I
the
see.
yeah. So if we are to start next year, as you can see, it's a project kata. I don't know, but I'm proposing it to Gimbalabs depending on what they have for it. So at it being we are actually submitting to Project Catalyst for the funds to come in and voting session. So that will take till next year, like January. So there's no specific date, but the timeline maybe I can't fix a timeline, right? But the timeline maybe I can't fix, but I'm scheduling maybe a month to two. But I can't really fix a timeline. So
Yep.
And you
Cool.
said once
Anyway,
students are working that you think we want to fit the course into about a month or two.
I'm like it's just an assumption, like just an
Yeah.
assumption.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold you to that, but like I think it's worth it. Just it helps us think about what we can teach in that amount of time. So getting those details is really good.
Yeah. Why I fixed it
I don't
because
have more. I don't have more questions. Just in general, I pretty like your proposal, but still there are a lot of details that have to be fleshed out. So yeah, probably I can offer some help to you, like because literally we have just run exactly the same thing in Hong Kong, and yeah, we just did it once, and we have some material left over, and me and James is also revising the materials. So yeah, probably will be helpful for you.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's open to everyone. Like, what's it?
I
Yeah.
think this is such an exciting potential next step to build on the work that Hinson and the team have been doing. And Emmanuel, you have my full support as well. Obviously, I think we all agree there's a bunch of details to figure out here. And if you submit this as a catalyst proposal, you got a week to finish those changes. And so whatever you need on that, just make sure to reach out to people who have already offered their support. However, separate from Catalyst, I want to support this anyway. Okay, so we have some funds, and I think the budget for this project is reasonable. This could potentially be funded directly from Gimbalabs. Okay, and
All right.
for me, the first step to that, obviously, we need to know the actual amount we're talking about, right? So finish up the budget so you can get to a final amount right here. But the other thing is, if, like Hinson said, it's hard to plan an event, but one of the hardest parts is making sure that people show up for it. Okay. And I think we have an opportunity to work in a really intelligent way here by not planning an event that nobody's going to show up for. Let's start by getting people signed up. And if you could bring us a list, even if it's just 8 or 12 people, obviously 30 or 40, that's even more exciting. But bring us a list of 8 to 12 people who say they're committed to doing this. You bring us that list. I'm going to work overtime to make sure you get it done. Okay.
Yeah. Earlier I started with me setting up a team. The team I set,
Yeah.
like we are ready to learn. As of now, we are 7 in the team. So and we are all developers. So that's just like we are ready. I already informed them about this, and they said they are ready to get it done. The publicity, that was why, as you see, the ADA there for the graphics publicity, because we'll be posting it. We have Web3 Unilag, blockchain Unilag, Google. I'm also a member of Google Developer Student Club Unilag. So
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah, so it's about the audience.
That's
I'm
even better,
assuming,
man.
I'm assuming that on the event day, on the onboarding day, we might
Yeah.
even be telling people like, it's filled up. So
Well, that's pretty important background to know. Make sure you write that in every proposal, Catalyst and Gimbalabs, because I just said the hardest part is getting people to show up, but we all know what the second hardest part is, making sure they got the tech support. So if you're there ready when people
yeah,
show up, help them get
it will be
started. Obviously, somebody always needs somebody right behind them. Sounds like you're
yeah,
that. Then we get people
yeah.
going on stuff. That's great. Yeah, Hinson, how much time did you spend on tech support when you ran your workshops?
Actually, we've spent quite a lot of time to prepare all the material and also the ad hoc support and setting up environment, everything. So there are a lot of grinding and hard works. But I think if you're in a position that you already got a group of developers that could offer helps, it is super positive. So actually, I have a proposal for this thing. Is that for this proposal that we've written, you could definitely we have to go through more discussion. But I guess it's pretty much just like James said, maybe Gimbalabs could fund it directly. And on the side, like we probably don't have to let the Fund 13 proposal to block these things in terms of funding. We could probably to propose another standalone proposals that is on a higher level, like supporting physical educations around the globe by Gimbalabs. And then we could kind of on the side work on it together. Like maybe Emmanuel, you could be the project manager, or if there's any other members in Gimbalabs or community members in Gimbalabs want to be also part of the project manager of that proposal, it works as well. But the workflow will be like eventually the fund will be allocated out from that proposal in substance, but we could work on the actual delivery and the funding on parallel. This is my idea, yeah.
Here. Support that.
Yep. So the ideal stage is you work on this get really successful, and then on the side, we also work on the Fund 15 proposals together. And then hopefully we get the funding a quarter later. And then we also get another chunk of the funding that we could support running the second iteration, third iteration, maybe in Nigeria or in other geos.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's open to both. Project Catalyst, Gimbalabs, it's open to both. And if we are to bring a collaborative proposal to Catalyst, there'll be a more upgrades to this, right? So yeah, it's open to both actually. So it depends on what the decision is onto Gimbalabs right now. So because I'll also be part of the students, so
Yeah.
the decision is up to Gimbalabs right now. So yeah.
I'm going to pass it right back to you though. Okay, so finish this budget and show us that the sign-up process is happening. And as far as I'm concerned, let's move on this. Okay, so absolutely yes, just get us at least these details. Let's start signing people up. And it doesn't matter what date, right? Whether we say the start of the semester, which would be really ambitious, or if we say some weeks later, we can start building this as we go. But one thing that's going to create a lot more of support is knowing that people really are signing up and we're ready to build something that people are actually going to use.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically students, students. The graphics, just to the graphics, the price in the publicity, the price and the entire stuff about the about the education session will be included. So it's about publicity, right? So yeah. So I'm also into marketing. I'm a finance student and I'm also a developer. So basically everything is cool. And yeah. So thank you everyone so much.
Yeah, excellent. No, I think this budget makes sense, especially in regards to, I mean, you did a really good job laying out the benefits, the impact. I think this is all really well aligned. So let's keep it going. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So here's staying kind of on that topic. Here's the opportunity, right? Hinson, Kinson, and the rest of the team at Sedan are delivering in-person workshops. I'm working with that team and we're building up the Aiken PBL course together, right? We're building up other courses that we can use, and all of this creates raw material that can be used in a lot of different settings. In-person settings are one of those. And so one of the concepts that I threw down here, workshops, hackathons all together, I'm not 100% certain where to go with this, and I definitely need help to bring it to life if people are interested in working on this. But just to get you up to speed, the special interest group for education at Intersect is starting to think together about some shared initiatives they could pursue. Sebastian and I attended that meeting. Alex might have dropped by. Is Alex still here? But this is work that might be possible. And there's a link to a Google Doc right here that Lawrence Lay drafted for how we might create a series of catalyst proposals for workshops that meet near blockchain events. I think it's a pretty cool idea. It requires a little bit more thought, and it's going to require maybe making connections to proposals like Emmanuel's, right? Because when I think about in-person workshops, yes, there's the onboarding workshop that you start with, but maybe we should also be thinking about at the end a hackathon, right? Or what else we can have students do. I like the idea of rewards just for attending, but I like the idea even more of having people push themselves to see what they can accomplish, in the context of a hackathon or something. So we have all of these ideas to think about, and I wonder if they fit together somehow into a Fund 13 proposal, around local events, live events, student events, hackathons, maybe something to align with this blockchain conference idea. But I'm just throwing out big ideas right now. Does that get anybody here going? Is anybody interested in exploring this together?
Yeah, I would be definitely one of those. Yeah.
What are your first thoughts? Like, what opportunities do you sense when I say that?
Yeah. So basically, we in Sidan Lab in Hong Kong, we are doing something very similar, but in a more experimental way. Is that we have hosted some offline events, non-technical, some workshops that installing wallet, delegating to stake pool and DRAP. And then also recently we just run the developer series, and the upcoming Saturday is the hackathon day. So indeed we are doing everything very, very similar. I'm just thinking about we could just wrap these things together to be a kind of a framework, try to be a playbook-ish, that kind of things. Therefore, other geos that could directly deploy and have a lot of reference onto what we are prepared and so forth. Yeah, this is my starting point. And talking about that, we in Sidan Lab recently just think about a missing piece of puzzle might be the student society. Like it's super human intensive, like doing these things. Meanwhile, we have like shitloads of works that we are going to do. So we're thinking about how we could get a kind of a sustainable way of some labor powers to help to deliver those physical sessions. So we are thinking about to research a bit or try to run something like student society in Hong Kong. Yeah, this is the current status and state of the art.
And when we talked about it earlier this week, you said that, yeah, you feel like we're more at the like if we were going to have a Fund 13 proposal, it might be more focused on writing and delivering the playbook than putting pressure on ourselves to deliver a certain number of events right away.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about how wide should this scope be, like as of the playbook. Like is it just surrounding the missing puzzle, aka the student society, or just the local community as a whole to work on a playbook about local community, like normies, like blockchain curious, like developers, students, how to engage these kind of people together, the kind of feeling through different series of events.
Here's all the different audiences, here's the different events that we've been piloting and ongoing research. And you could almost like the result could almost be like an open source library where people can keep adding, Emmanuel can add to the student playbook by sharing out from that event, for example.
Yep. So if there's anyone interested in that, I'm also super excited to just share everything we have in Hong Kong to just provide some pieces of puzzle to work together on this. Meanwhile, I'll focus more operational on the upcoming funding round. I guess will be somewhere around students. This is something that we have been thinking.
I think I just want to jump in for a sec. First of all, just to say hi to the Gimbalabs group here. Also one fun thing is that from the Hong Kong, just in case I just want to align to make sure everyone knows what we are doing in Hong Kong. So the student effort is actually better than what we expected because we are having developer series. So we test out. We did some testing and see how active the students are. So that's why we are thinking about whether the payload, how large is the scope, should we control like all this kind of information. So if any parties would like to know a bit more about the logistics, so feel free to shout as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Man, it's so exciting.
Actually, I have something to show. Can I just take the screen sharing for a minute?
You know it.
Yeah,
if I can find Zoom.
super quick.
Here it is.
Yeah, super quick. It's indeed just these things. I super quickly compile what we have been working on like previously. Like we got the general community running that we have hosted this kind of events for nearly 10 times. Like small,
Yes.
big, including.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And then we have something like workshop. Workshop is those we kind of give away a little bit of ADA, teach people how to set up wallets, and then delegate to our stick pool and also DWeb and talk about the concept behind. Yeah. And then also this is something that we have just gone through, which is a developer series that we're teaching Icon and Mesh like marathon, super tiring, the kind of events. And then we are thinking about maybe we could try to find something, research a bit on something like student society as a missing puzzle. Like what is the kind of the synergy is that they could be the helpers on the events, and also we're inviting new community contributors towards several things. And meanwhile, we in Hong Kong got two entities. One is Delta DeFi and another is Sedan Lab. Both we could offer the student internship opportunities. Like we have the government supports because we are kind of the tech startup supported by the local incubation, the kind of circle. So we have everything just combined together that we could maybe to make these things getting the inherent helpers. So this is our ideas. Like this thing together, I guess it could become a kind of playbook-ish, that kind of thing. But probably we won't have sufficient capacity to execute the thing. So if there is anyone that really interested to just glue everything together to be a playbook, we are super happy to collaborate. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. what I wanted to share.
It's really good. Any questions or anybody interested in just knowing more, being in touch about that?
Hello, everyone. Maybe let me jump into the discussion. Hi, and also say hi to everyone because this is my first time to join this meeting. So my name is Neil, also from Sedan Lab. Work closely with Hinson and Kinson. I'm also the event lead of the whole event in Hong Kong, including the community and also the workshop developer series. So yeah, just feel free to ask any questions or see any help we can and collab, or also we can help to make your work easier and to make all the things run smoothly. Yeah, this is what I want to add, and nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you for joining, Neil. It's great to meet you. Congrats on the work so far. It's so good. So Hinson, I mean, in terms of like the immediate next steps, this local work and building upon what you guys are doing, I have full confidence we're going to keep building this. Is there anything we should really focus on for the next week regarding Fund 13?
I think we have the capacity to execute on the student society framework. And one thing that I will be super open to the community is that if there is anyone that want to work on the entire playbook in a holistic field, we could offer kind of support to execute that. Or otherwise, probably our team will have the capacity to execute that in the next funding cycle, like the overall playbook itself. So yeah, this is something that I want to also brought it up here to see if there are any feedback from
If I
anyone
change
here.
the name of this thing, so the title of this card previously was like hackathons, education, etc. But if I change the name of it to Student Society Playbook, and this is really what you and I were talking about yesterday as we were strategizing, and make you the owner of this thread, is that okay?
Yeah, I think it works.
Okay. And Hinson and I get together for just to strategize together on Wednesdays whenever we have time. And we were talking yesterday, and this is kind of pointing to exactly where we landed on that conversation. So with that in mind, the thing that I wanted to lead coming out of that conversation is the continued movement of Plutus PBL towards like a community governed public asset. And what I mean by that is we've all been seeing firsthand what it's like to build a course and then how quickly it goes out of date. And then there's work to do to refine it. And I think this represents such a perfect opportunity to practice governance of a shared resource. There's going to be a lot more shared resources like this one. I mean, it's a tiny version of what the Cardano blockchain is in the first place, right? It's this thing that now exists that we have to govern together. And so the stakes are much lower on PPBL than they are on keeping Cardano running, but we can practice and get some ideas here. And what I'm thinking is I would like to have a Fund 13 proposal that takes a snapshot of this current state. Here's PPBL 2024. Here's what we've done with it so far. And what we really want to do is have, more complete support for people who are moving through it on the one hand, but with the goal of getting some number of people, it doesn't have to be many, right? If 100 people enroll in the course, maybe only 3 or 4 want to step into a, contribution role helping to sustain the course. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a lot. But if we could support a small group of people who have moved through the course to be in charge of auditing it, right? To be able to say, hey, this lesson is out of date, to create issues and then to make sure that those issues are resolved. Hey, we updated the lesson or we updated the example repo. I'd be really excited to use a Catalyst proposal to establish that pipeline so that it can keep running into the future, where we always have the structures set up and ideally the funding set up to support people once they move through this course to now be able to contribute back to it, govern it, keep it up to date. So that's the very basic idea. I'm sharing all of this by saying it first because I haven't had time to jump in and write this proposal yet. And this is, I'll get to it because I want to flesh this out. But just based on my initial ideas and maybe to help me out a little bit with proposal forming, is there anything I said there that should be emphasized? And did I raise any questions for you about how to make this idea make sense?
You mean also this turn PPBL into a community governed public asset? You want to turn this into a Fund 13 proposal, right?
I think it might be one. Yeah, I think having the chance to say, like, let's have a specific Catalyst funded budget to really support a handful of people to support this course and to build patterns that are going to last for the long term.
Yep. I think in terms of proposal writing on Catalyst in the sustainability circle, there are some static resources that could speed the process up quite a lot. If you want to turn it into that, I could share over the hyperlink after this.
I think I could just yeah, we have this guy. Yeah. I'll find the existing notes and I'll let you know if I can't find it. But if you have it right there.
I could help you with that on the proposal writing.
Thanks. Excellent. Can I add you here? All right. I'll be the owner, but I'm just putting you here so I remember to reach out.
Cool.
And I'll have this drafted at the latest, like I'll do this Saturday morning coffee, just write some thoughts down. It's been a busy week. But I'm hoping to have something in here by tomorrow. And this is another one of those things, like the student society work and the ongoing work around building kind of local workshops and in-person education, that kind of stuff. this is a theme that we're going to keep coming back to. So it's really nice to be looking at it right now and see, hey, is there a Fund 13 proposal there? But whatever ends up happening with Fund 13, this is going to be some ongoing work that I'm going to continue to roll out. So when I say that, right, like speaking of ongoing work and this 1 week sprint we do every couple months or so, is anybody else working on anything that might be worth forming a proposal around? I had to unshare because I can't click on certain parts.
This is also a core motive of me jumping into this open session, since I'm kind of still the facilitator in sustainability circle. So if any one of you have some
So
cool
you dropped
ideas
by to told us to get your acts together, guys. Sustain.
yeah, if you want to get something ideas, frame it into a Fund 13 proposals, I can help to facilitate the process if it's a good idea that kind of community agree. Yeah.
Hinson, any other high level categories on your mind? You know, we've got Dandelion Light is starting to have some traction and there's a team forming there. I think this guy and this guy are going to connect to each other. Let's just put them next to each other.
Yeah. So
Right.
I think in general, very high level, Gimbalabs is always tried to be one is the educational material providers, which is like writing courses and also delivering sessions in locals and anything around community. This is the one thing. Another thing is the experiment in the governance system, like what we are running right now, open governance sessions, like anyone could propose an idea, anyone can participate in the discussion. So these will be the super high level category that I guess probably me and James would be supporting that by default, as long as anyone who is actually committed to that. And give it to be a more concrete level of point, some possible proposals that I think inherently a lot of people would support is like building another PBL, for example. Like perhaps there's Python Cardano. Cardano is a library that someone like to use in Python, and you want to write a PBL around that. I think this is something that will get most of the community support by default, but also have to flesh out a bit on the details and also execution and everything. That's of course. And another thing is about community building. Yeah, like if you want to run some workshops like Nigeria, the kind of workshops that just presented, I think these will be getting quite a bit of support in general. So these are the examples I would say. And also one more category is anything that could help to continue running Gimbalabs as a community, like for example, playground or any other things. Those will be kind of operational-ish, will be also inherently supporting, I guess. Yeah, perhaps might not be anyone having concrete idea by this time, but since the Fund 13 cycle is closing by 10th of October, the proposal submission. So within this week, if any of you got any idea, just feel free to add me in the sustainability circle. And yeah, I probably help to facilitate. Probably I will not make every decisions because I still want to respect this as a community. If there's this material enough, maybe I'll try to call for some open space discussions on that.
Yeah.
And so forth. Yeah.
No, thanks for the facilitation. And yeah, everybody just be in touch in the Discord if there's stuff to talk about, because yeah, we embraced uncertainty, ambiguity. We looked at some plans for the last 90 minutes, but now we got to decide, right? What are we going to do in the next 7 days? And that's up to each of us. So be in touch async about that. I think you'll find a lot of support. Steve, what do you think?
I just want to reiterate playground is for Gimbalabs. right? It's for Gimbalabs. It's not for every yin yang out there in the Cardano community. So like if you want to have another discussion, like we seem to be full every open spaces on Thursday. And so if there's some larger discussions that are more conceptual, or technical, I don't really care. But let me know when you want to talk. I'm waiting on confirmation about this coming Tuesday. If I don't get it, like I would say, Henson, talk to me, like let me know if you want to do it this Tuesday. And I'll see what this guy says. That I've
Sure,
invited.
sure. Thanks for your support, man.
Sure.
Steve, it's funny you say it that way. I've never thought of it that way before, but thinking of hackathons and student workshops has me wondering in a different direction about Playground. What if it was just, every 2 weeks, drop in and show off what you've been hacking on? And right, sometimes.
Well, this was, I actually wrote this, and I think I wrote it in the proposal, but the off week, right? Like we went to the bi-weekly format for Gimbalabs and me hosting it, but I suggested in the proposal that the off weeks could just be all about us, and we don't have to publicize it. Or
that's like, water cooler time is the best part of the conference, right? Maybe the off weeks are actually the idea.
I think the off weeks are, have a huge potential for us as a group, because I was on the phone, I was on a call with Newman for a couple hours this morning, just talking about this shit, like I've always been curious how Cardano happened, right? Before I got here, like how did Charles get that? He paid for his researchers, but then he actually had to get people to come and actually try to build their stake pools and fix the shit, that wasn't actually fleshed out in research. And I know getting rich is a big idea, a big part of that, but like it's a community that forms around ideas, and and look at who's here today. We have people from around the world, and we're trying to build a community, and it hasn't gone the way I thought it would 4 years ago. I think James would kind of agree on that. It's been weird, but like, and yet here we are, because of that common thread that we all hold, in terms of what, the idea that we can bring to the world. That's why I appreciate Emmanuel so much. We've got that hour and a half, like we can do anything we want with it.
Hugh, what do you think?
I think this hour and a half, that hour and a half is, a fraction of a fraction of the time and spaces that need to be happening, on a more broad global community level. This, Gimbalabs is special. If there was a way to recreate it 10 times and find people to join, it still wouldn't be enough. I think that's how powerful it is when it comes to what's going on in the ecosystem and these hackathons and everything that I was listening to here. I kind of want to focus on 3 things, Catalyst, the Constitution, and the committee elections for the rest, this quarter. I don't know how that fits into a Catalyst proposal or Gimbalabs Playground or what have you, but Cardano before the founding entities is a very interesting thing to think about. But a show and tell would be great. Honestly, I think there just needs to be more playgrounds, more options. Yeah, that's what I think.
A little bit at a time. But it's just a dog now. Emmanuel.
I'd like to introduce my partner that we will be will be in charge of representing Gimbalabs in our school in Nigeria, the University of Lagos. He's also a student. Yeah, Miles, you can go ahead.
Hello everyone. My name is Joseph, and just like Emmanuel said, I'm going to be representing Gimbalabs in Unilag.
It's great to meet you. Thanks for swinging through.
Thank you very much.
Well, great, guys. Great proposal. Really excited to see the work taking shape, building bridges from Lagos to Hong Kong. We'll see about playbooks, that kind of thing. Working on proposals, next steps. Hinson's got this thread. I've got this thread. Other threads, if you think they're worthwhile, run with those. Oh, I didn't put the dandelion theme on this list, but it's in the project board, right? So dandelion, Martin's following that thread. And there's some other ones that we could pick up, but also time is limited and there's a bunch of projects already to do. So we're going to do what we can with Fund 13, and then we'll pick it up same time, same place next week to keep all of our other works in progress going. Thanks for this session, everybody. If you do happen to be watching this and you've made it to the end, we meet on 14 at 14:30 UTC on Thursdays. You can check out the Zoom links at gimbalabs.com/calendar. Hope everybody has a good rest of the day. If anybody wants to play around with the Gimbalabs treasury, you can stick around here in the Zoom and we'll keep it going. Take care, y'all.